So interestingly enough, since Dono and I recorded that segment about Miami's newest transfer, they went in the portal and they got another one. They go get Jakobe Thomas at safety from Tennessee. Now, you look at his career stats on Twitter, if you see the graphic that guys like Hayes Fawcett put out, and you see, he's compiled a bunch of stats and PBUs. I don't know that this is a starting caliber player necessarily. I certainly like having him as a depth piece. He was the third most snap safety for Tennessee a year ago. 263 total snaps on the back end of that vaunted Vols defense from a year ago. His Pro Football Focus grade was 68.5. That's slightly below what you'd consider good or average. 70 is good, 80 is great, 90 is special. Anything below 70, it's okay. It's all right. I do appreciate, though, and this is a consistent theme of mine in every offseason that I've ever covered in college football, because, frankly, it's not always as common in college or professional sports as you might think. When you have a weakness, go out and attack it aggressively to get better. That's what the offseason is for. You compare this to a good college example is 2022 USC. 11-1, Pac-12 championship game, RIP. Lose to Utah, lose the Cotton Bowl to Tulane, embarrassing defensive performances all around. And what did they do? They stuck with their defensive coordinator and they didn't make wholesale changes. Well, that wasted a season of Caleb Williams. They went 7-5 with the reigning Heisman Trophy winner and future number 1 overall pick at quarterback. Not good. Not good. And there are lots of examples that you can find. You can find this in professional sports, college sports, wherever you want to look. So I appreciate that Miami had a good season last year. They could have run it back and said, hey, we'll have Carson Beck. He's not Cam Ward with his legs and special throwing ability, but he's really good. He'll be productive. Offensive line will be good. Ground game should be there. Look, CharMar Brown might be our third running back. And all of a sudden, you think, we could just be an 8-9 win team. Nothing wrong with that. Nope, not satisfied. Best season to date under Mario Cristobal's tutelage at Miami in year 3. They go 10-3, and what do you know? They're going out and they are attacking their weakness, the defensive side of the ball. New defensive staff, plenty of transfers, retain some key guys. I like what I'm seeing there. So Jakobe Thomas was, according to 24/7, one of the 10 best players available in the transfer portal. He came off the board quite literally about a half hour following Alex and I's recording of the segment talking about CharMar Brown. So that's one name I was going to highlight, and then what do you know? He's got a new home. I think the best player available in the transfer portal, though, is Amare Campbell from North Carolina. I'm fascinated to see where he winds up. We've already seen one impact player in Bo Atkinson go to Ohio State. I think it's a really nice pickup for the Buckeyes. If not to be a depth piece, I think he can be a solid starter, even for Ohio State's defense. He won't be Jack Sawyer or JT Tuimoloau out, but Bo Atkinson is a dude. Amare Campbell is also a dude. And he's not ranked on 24/7 as the best player available. I don't know, man. He's got to be. Now, to be fair, he's inside the top 10. I just don't know how many guys in the transfer portal have 6.5 sacks from this past season. He had a PFF grade of 72.5, 76 total tackles, 6.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 2 pass breakups. Kind of hard to argue with that. Really hard, as a matter of fact, to argue with that. And so I like Campbell. He is a sophomore, or was a sophomore this past year, going into his 3rd season of eligibility. I think Campbell is going to be a really good pickup for someone looking for a linebacker, a position, by the way, that really doesn't have a lot of high-end guys move around. There are a couple of spots like that. Linebacker is like that. Tight end is like that as well. You don't see big-time players move around that often. You know, Benjamin Jurasik went from Stanford to Georgia last year. He wasn't their top guy. Oscar Delp was their top tight end. But you just don't see highly rated recruits or even highly rated portal recruits or big impact guys at tight end move around all that often. Linebacker's another one. And speaking of linebackers, Harrison Taggart, looking at Colorado, looking at NC State, as well, transfer from BYU. He was their third most snap linebacker last year, former four-star recruit, one-time Oregon Duck, veteran in college football at this point. He's got a solid amount of playing experience. The production was there. I was surprised when he left BYU. That's a name to know. I tell you one I'm surprised is still in the portal is Marcavius Brown, the transfer corner from Purdue. Really thought he would have found a home by now. Now, maybe that's a product of him having a lot of different offers, because I think he is a starting caliber corner. And again, that's a premium position that schools are typically in the NIL market and transfer portal going to pay top dollar for, because it's just like the NFL now. Quarterback, edge rusher, offensive tackle, corner. Got to have great ones. I don't know that Marcavius Brown is a great one. I think he's a good one, though. So interested to see how his timeline goes. I can't imagine he stays in the transfer portal for that much longer, but hey, what the heck do I know? So another one, Tobias Merriweather. I talked about him on a segment earlier this week. Wide receiver from Cal, former Notre Dame commit, class of 2022, was underutilized, really overshadowed by other receiving talent during his time with the Golden Bears in Berkeley. Merriweather is 6'5", 205 pounds, kind of in that sort of long, wiry frame, like the type of receiver that Colorado has been adding. He's also one of the top players in the transfer portal. Again, it's easy to think of the portal as, well, it's closed. Well, guys can come out of the portal at any point in time. It's not as slim pickings as you would think. It's certainly not the beginning or the middle of the spring transfer portal window. We're towards the end of it. That doesn't mean guys aren't out there who are going to be able to come in and make a difference, because I really think that they are. And I like Merriweather a lot. I don't know that there's a receiver in the portal who I would rather have than Merriweather. Certainly there are some other options that are available, but I think those are kind of the best guys that are out there. I mean, you have a couple of safeties that are still. AJ Halsey grades as a 4-star transfer according to 24/7, transferring from Houston. And again, in 24/7's defense, Amare Campbell is the fourth highest rated player, but one of the guys they have in front is Jonte Cook, who has been Cristobal to Syracuse. He visited Arizona State. I don't know. I'm not crazy about that particular situation, but I think that Campbell's got to be the top guy. You know, the second highest rated player is Kean Burnett, a tight end. Again, I think Campbell makes a much bigger impact than either of those guys. But safety is a strangely plentiful position. You have not just AJ Halsey coming from Houston, but Gregory Smith from Florida as well. I think either one of those guys can go somewhere and wind up being a starter. Smith was a 4-star prospect coming out of high school, and Halsey grades as a 4-star transfer right here and now. So you've got some maybe lower end, but still blue chip talent that is out there. I just keep coming back to Amare Campbell. I think he and Marcavius Brown both are probably looking to see what their offers are. I think Campbell's are probably a bit more lucrative, but that's someone who goes and figures out how he's going to, how big of an impact he's going to have. I think he's underrated, frankly, as a 3-star linebacker transfer. I think he is someone that can absolutely go and be a starting linebacker for a Power 4 school, and you'll like the production that you get.